Okay, folks, at 6:30, I'll call the meeting to order. Rose, will you lead us tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rick's not going to be with us tonight. He's got another commitment he has to deal with. So let's do no scheduled speakers, let's do meeting minutes. There's one we can approve. The rest we're going to have to hold. I'm looking for the one where we have the...
I make a motion that we accept the March 5th, 2018 minutes as drafted.
Yeah, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
That's the only one we can do.
Yeah, the other one I wasn't there.
Okay? You with us?
I am now.
Okay. Any public comments tonight? Yes.
I would like to thank the Board of Selectmen for hosting the Services Review Committee report on the website and following up also with additional information relative to the Wakefield contracts. I appreciate that. I'd also like to provide a personal comment, and that is that when I spoke at town meeting, I wasn't having the best day, wasn't feeling particularly well, but nonetheless, in hindsight, I think that some of my comments were perhaps, could have been phrased a little bit differently. And if I offended the board, the members of the board in my comments, I apologize. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Just dying, we're big boys. No apologies needed, but thank you.
The treasurer's not here. She gave us a whole host of bills to read, invoices to read. We'll do that later. Tax collector Diane, you're up.
Yeah, I have a couple things tonight I want to take care of. One being a list for you guys of the properties that are due for deeding for the 2015 property taxes. There's the list, and I included with that a separate invoice showing in more detail about the property for each one of them. There are 3. Well, you guys can look that over, and if you think there are any that you want to waive, I have the deed waiver forms in my desk, and I can give them to you for those. The other thing is, I have a couple abatements I'd like to have signed. These 2 are very small. These were properties that the payment basically on the 2 of them, which was very, very small, crossed in the mail. In other words, I sent out the lien notices the same day that I got the payments in. One is for $19, the other is for $13. The taxes were all paid. This is interest and cost. And I'd like to, with these 2, I would like to have you decide whether or not you think we should just abate those, as I say. The whole thing crossed in the mail, I don't think they would have, but it also, these certified letters went out just before that last big storm that we had, and I heard about that from Wendy, the mail lady, very nicely,
Yes.
because she had to go up and through the snowstorm to get signatures, which she said, it's part of my job.
She's a trooper.
Yes, she
Okay.
is. So I want to
Okay.
have those signed by you, if you agree with me on it.
Anything else? Anything else?
I think that's probably it. We have been requested by I've been requested by the Tax Collectors Association to call our senators concerning House Bill 1673. And state that we, of course, as a Tax Collectors Association, do not agree with it. I don't know how you people feel about it.
Oh, I've expressed my, that's the one with, where they take the fees down to 6%?
Correct.
It's a cheap loan for everybody.
It's gonna,
What they're proposing to do, what the House bill does is takes the interest down on unpaid taxes from 18% today, which motivates people to pay, to 6%.
well, this is prior, this is 12% to 6%, I believe, but I think it's for both of them, for the 12% and then the 18% also. And at the risk of sounding hard-hearted, we have to pay our bills. As a town, we have to pay our bills.
I understand. I think it's a cheap loan for everybody.
I do have some, have information on it if you guys want to
Well,
look
I've
it up.
expressed my concern.
If you wanted to give
Talk to our
Jeb
representative.
Bradley an email or a call or something, it's kind of
I
interesting.
understand that it's a cheap loan.
Yeah, well, very.
All right, so we want to make a motion on these, the two abatements for these two people that had payments passed in the mail. And make a motion?
Make a motion to accept both abatements as drafted there.
All right, I'll second it. You all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Now, the bigger one is that deeding.
Yeah.
I see no reason for not to move forward with the deeding.
I agree.
So I'll make a motion that we move forward with deeding those three properties.
Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with
No, I agree. Do we want to read them on, or just,
it. You have enough to read them.
okay. So I'll second the motion that we go forward with the deeding.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. There you go, Diana. Three of them, deed three of them. Well, it should get paid by the 15th, I think, right? Okay. All right. Any other comments? Yes.
I'm back from the February meeting when Brian wasn't here. I don't know if you want to discuss it without Rick being here, or if you want to wait for a full house. It doesn't matter that much to me.
I
It
think
just
we,
means I don't get paid until it's resolved.
Trying to club.
But I'll somehow, man, you get paid a lot quicker. Let me tell you.
I think we should wait for all three of
All
us.
three? Okay.
Thanks for,
Yeah, and I think Marilou would want to be here too. I forgot that she was going to be away.
yes,
She has her input on the whole thing too.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you
Yep.
for understanding.
I'll come back.
Okay. Administrative assistant, you have anything for us?
I just wanted to let you know that we're going to be starting the process for working on the website redesign. And he sent out a kind of a questionnaire that I've put my thoughts on and sent out to Rose. She's taking a look at it. Do you guys want to take a look at it and digest it and see if there's anything that you'd like to add to it before
Yeah.
we meet with them?
Me as well.
So I'm going to do that probably in a week.
I spent a lot of time looking at, on their website, Virtual Town Hall website, they have a lot of suggested sites to look at.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good ideas there.
Okay.
So I looked at that.
Okay. So what's highlighted in gray, that's the information that I put in there.
Yeah, most of the websites were only 2D.
So he thought that would be a good starting point.
Good,
So,
okay,
okay, that was it.
okay. Ed, a code enforcement officer or planning board? You're not on the planning board, I'm sorry. Code enforcement officer?
Code enforcement, just a lot of chatter, people asking questions for spring and summer projects. Other than that, there's nothing to report in there.
And the roads are still being plowed.
The postings are still on, although they are starting to dry up, believe it or not. And, to the better of my paycheck, there is no snow to plow, so I'll have to start thinking about some summer projects.
We can help.
I bet.
Okay, planning board, I skipped the planning board. Ed and Diane, any comments for the planning board?
We had a resident come to the planning board and ask, basically have an informal discussion about a project that he was working on, and we're working through those details. And the rest of the meeting was used up to deal with the master plan.
And what's happening there for us?
That we are mailing out the surveys that will go to the residents so they can fill it out, so we can get a better idea of how to go forward with the contents of the master plan. Did I leave anything out, Diane?
Those are the hard
That's
ones.
pretty much it.
Good, thank you.
Oh, can I see that letter about the taxes? Thank you.
Is that the one I saw, Rose? Oh,
Probably, yeah. The one that I read out last night, I think.
I agree with what that letter says. There's only one point there where it says it's going to impact the software. I don't get motivated by it impacting the
No.
software, but everything else is going to impact the towns, I really believe.
I wanted to see when it was going to be scheduled for a hearing, if it hadn't already, so I'm going to check that out.
First of all, the 1st of April, I believe, is next week.
First
Right next week.
of April, they want it to become effective, I thought.
Yeah.
I'll check the docket right now.
Well, okay. Yes, Bruce?
Actually, a question on the report for the planning board. The notice is going out to residents or property owners?
Property owners list.
Property owners list.
Okay, I believe it's property
Okay.
owners, because that's the addresses that they wanted us put on. Thank you.
Conservation Commission meets, oh, there's something I have to do on the Conservation Commission. Thank you. They met last month. You remember that we put out requests for proposals for forest management plan to be developed. We put out 10 requests, we got 2 back. The Conservation Commission studied both, went back to the people that responded and got additional clarification. And at their last meeting, they made a recommendation that we, because we own the property, the board owns the property, that we enter into a contract with
Tim Nolan?
well, he's the owner, Forest Management Improvement Inc., Tim Nolan, he's the owner, for $2,500, and then they further authorize that we take the $2,500 to pay for this from their funds in the Conservation Commission. So what they've asked us to do is contact this gentleman, get a contract from him that we can sign so they move forward. And that was their recommendation to the board. They did a lot of work studying it, they did a lot of work peeling back on both proposals to understand it. One came in at $5,000, one came in at $2,500. They went back to both of them, they understood what they're getting from both of them, they were identical, one's just a better deal. And Tim Nolan, this company has done work in town, and people are very happy with his deliverables. So I'd make a motion that we take the recommendation, contact Tim Nolan, and ask for a contract to move forward with his proposal.
Okay. Now, we're going to have them take that request or one of us?
Say it different?
Who's gonna ask for the contract? The conservation board or board of selectmen?
Laurie. Laurie, it's because it's our deal. We don't
Okay, I
have-
want to make sure that it's, that,
They made the recommendation to us,
Okay.
they want us to take the action.
so I want to be clear. Okay, then I will second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, that's good. The other thing they brought up is it's time to think about the selectmen's breakfast that we had before cleanup.
Mhm.
We interested?
Sure.
Okay, Rick said he was interested, so we'll be telling them that we're interested in doing that. It'll be some Saturday morning, close to Earth Day in April.
Probably the 21st, I'm gonna guess.
Do you have his contact information, Tim's contact?
I'm not sure, can I keep that?
Yes, you may. He deals in conservation. We lost two members. Dick Peckham's off and John Nelson's off. They didn't want to go back. There's still plenty of people there, but we can use some more help.
Is that Conservation Commission?
Yes.
Earth Day is the 22nd, which is a Sunday.
So chances are it's going to be the 21st then.
Okay.
They'll pick the date, or we can work with them to pick a date.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, the 21st?
21st, I think, I don't see a problem with that.
All right. Heritage Commission is not here. Cemetery trustees,
Nothing really new to report, as I recall. We're gearing up for spring when Rolly Kinville is going to be doing the setting up of the semicircle for the memorial spot. Once that's done, the flagpole will go in. We're budgeted for both. And then we need to begin to talk about the Veterans Memorial. I'm going to take pictures of the Dover, brand new Dover Veterans Memorial, which is very similar to what we want to do with granite and the emblems of the various branches of service. We have a new member to a 2-year term, Roberta Holland, who's, I don't know if she's been sworn in yet, because I think she was away, and she's going to be away for our April. That's about it, I think. Unless you can think of anything else.
no, I can't.
The lawn is going to be seeded and fertilized as soon as weather permits. And we've gotten a bid for fertilizing the 12 maples
Oh,
from Bartlett's. That's actually, I think, pretty reasonable. So
Good.
hopefully we'll decide to do that. We still have some money from that gift, which included maintenance of the trees, so that would be a good expenditure from that gift.
good, thank you. Any other boards or committees? No. I don't know who came in.
Okay.
I thought so. Thank you for coming.
Hi.
And I was hoping it was you, because at our last meeting, we had a lot of feedback about and Governor's Road. And the town, the state is proposing another skim coat. And those roads, I'm sure you've traveled them, are pretty tough. So anything that you can do to show some interest in the condition of those roads would be appreciated.
Well, right now, Mr. Chairman, the legislature has a 10-year highway improvement plan. So, they'll be tweaking that throughout the process. The maintenance budget, highway maintenance budget from the state, that's where the funding would be coming from. They have a resurfacing plan, which I can get you a map of it for the district and actually for this area of the state. A lot of shim coating, there's no doubt about it. There has been kind of approached by DOT to tier 1s, tier 2, tier 3 roads to take care of the tier 1 roads. And the secondary state roads have always kind of gotten second fiddle as far as funding. And as a result, they've been kind kind of pushing resurfacing through the recent couple of years back. The Senate passed a tax on gasoline that would go directly to resurfacing. But to reconstruct roads in the secondary state roads, unless there's something extremely peculiar, the state's kind of holding the line, if you will, with the funding they have. And I'd be glad to bring in the DOT commissioner at any time to kind of explain their philosophy and how they're funding the roads here in New Hampshire. But it's an ongoing dilemma, it really is. And we haven't gotten any federal plan out of the federal government at this point. We're waiting on it to see if that might help us with regards to infrastructure. A lot of red list bridges out there. The state did get a Tiger grant over in Lebanon, Vermont border on I-89 for $10 million. So the Tiger grants are really going to bigger projects like the Surrette Bridge and places that, where there's really tens of millions of dollars that are involved. So,
Sorry,
it's okay.
it never rings. So unusual.
Solicitation.
Is it blind?
But I could talk, DOT items for quite a while, but that's just a reality, and I don't want to, promise something I can't deliver.
Well, I understand. I just wanted to share that we had a lot of, as you might expect, public input about the condition of those roads.
Right.
And they're just, especially this time of year when the rocks start coming with the frost heaves, and I understand
Sure.
there's no sub-road, they're very old roads. So the concern was that we just keep shimming them and they don't really get any better.
Right.
And that's from the public.
Sure. Well, what I can do is, I'm planning on April 20th to bring the DOT commissioner into the county, and I can have her stop and just take a look at the road and hear from the public. She hears from the public quite frequently, as you can imagine. There was a transfer about $4 million that was slated to be for the last storm into the maintenance budget, but there wasn't a last storm. And when I saw the DOT commissioner yesterday at a meeting in Concord, I said, what happened to that $4 million? She said, well, Council, as you know, if we don't use it, it goes into the highway fund. So, I've already put a couple of requests in for that money, but, like anything, they're going to kind of prioritize. But just on a couple other notes, we have a nomination for a new associate justice to the state Supreme Court, Patrick Donovan. So we'll be doing a public hearing on April 6th, which will be held in Concord. And secondly, Commissioner Jeff Rose has not been reappointed, so the governor has nominated Sarah Stewart out of Manchester to be the new Natural and Cultural Affairs Commissioner. So that's a big position for us because, that department oversees the forests and lands, obviously the Forest Service, and additionally the state parks. And it also oversees, obviously, the cultural affairs portion of the state. That particular department got DRED, as it was called, Department of Resource and Economic Development, was split up last year. So the other half is called the Business and Economic Affairs Department, which is really about economic development, travel and tourism, and there's some job training programs in that department. So it kind of got broken up, retweaked, and so there's now two commissioners. The other commissioner is Taylor Caswell, who heads up the BEA department today. And so, again, the role of the Governing Council is to oversee most state contracts. You vote on all boards and commissions, and obviously judicial appointments. So we have a lot on our table for every couple of weeks when we're dealing with state topics and issues. Most towns the size of Brookfield are, obviously it's about roads in most cases because they don't rely a lot on state government. But that's why I have the DOT commissioner on the road quite a bit. And then from a constituent standpoint, I'm usually on the road Monday through Friday, My district runs from Claremont to Pittsburgh to Milton and everything in between. So it's about 108 towns, 4 cities, and 23 unincorporated areas. So there's a lot of work out there. I never avoided any work, but later this week we'll be up in Conway talking about county communication issues along with the Mount Washington Valley. You probably heard a few months ago that the state opted in with FirstNet, so that's a statewide interoperability system for our first responders. So it's a very big topic, and I'll be pushing in future meetings, seeing where we are with that particular program. The state of New Hampshire was promised 28 towers through AT&T contract, so we'll see how that pans out and where the coverage will go. And then obviously there's a lot of other topics out there. We passed a huge contract with regards to school infrastructure safety funding that is being spread out throughout the state, about $20 million. So that's for school security improvements as well as IT improvement as well. Additionally, we continue to lay out a lot of different contracts on to support the opioid crisis, whether it be the recovery, treatment, enforcement side of the house. And that's something that is just an ongoing activity that the council supports. So our only treatment center, I think that's fairly locally here in Carroll County, is the White Horse Addiction Center up in Ossipee. So that's newly formed about 1.5 years ago, and they're growing leaps and bounds. And then the Friendship House will be finished in Bethlehem. That's a residential treatment facility at the end of August. So lots going on. I focus a lot of my attention on economic development, getting into the various communities, talking to the business community about what the state can help out with regards to the funding. The Northern Borders Commission grant is now available. Communities and nonprofits can apply up to $500,000. There'll be probably about $3 to $4 million in the kitty this round. And so if you have a local nonprofit, or if you have a specific item in the municipality that you want to get funded, this is a good program to do it. It includes all of Carroll County, Coos, Grafton, and Sullivan. And so,
let me give you, and I hear you what you're talking about there, and along those lines, one of the other points that we get a lot of feedback with respect to economic development is the lack of internet capabilities in this town. People say we have coverage because they have Fairpoint/Consolidated or whoever Spectrum is, I think, they're the new provider. We don't have coverage. People say, oh, Brookfield's covered. I would expect 40% of the town does not have coverage, either DSL or cable. If you ever hear talk about expanding cable coverage or broadband coverage, please keep Brookfield in mind, because when we talk to the vendors, they're not obligated to expand it because it's not regulated. So it gets a little sparse in spots, so there's no coverage.
well, one thing you could do, Mr. Chairman, through the Northern Borders grant process, they do have a telecommunications component. So if you wanted to do a private-public partnership with that company, that's something that you could explore. So that you could be eligible up to $500,000. It may be over a period of years create a phase-in program that allows you to expand that DSL coverage. So there's possibilities if, again, I can bring in our North Country industrial agent who knows where all the buckets of money are. And if there's someone in the community who's spearheading that effort, we can bring him in to explain some of the programs out there, whether it's USDA, which is a big player here in the North Country, or if it's another federal program that we can help out to expand telecommunications. We also can bring our telecommunications expert in from the state to say what's going on, across the state, and they can provide a little expertise as well. Not saying it's going to be a cure-all, but at least it gives you, if there's the right, group and leadership, we can at least direct you to where the funding is.
And that funding would be to pay
infrastructure.
Effectively, we would be giving the money to the corporation to provide the service. Is that the way that works?
Yeah, it's kind of like the state when they fix your road and then they deliver it to the town and say it's yours. There are different ways of, somehow working that out. At least it's, it's worth exploring.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Oh, I love the executive council, it's a lot of fun. No, I'm just working on projects like the Balsams project. We're still working with the developer and their team and trying to get that thing jump-started. As I kind of talk about other communities, because that's where I spend a lot of my time as well, in Groveton. They now have over 100 jobs that NSC has come in and provide manufacturing, which was a whole new thing for that area. One of the funds I will like to describe is the Water Drinking Trust Fund, which is a new $276 million trust fund that was created last year via the Exxon settlement fund, results. And so there have been 5 communities thus far that have gotten grants from that Water Drinking Trust Fund. So if there's ever any needs, with regards to that, that's available. And I think, there a lot of the infrastructure, particularly up north, is come due. Colebrook received a $1.5 million water drinking grant, and they had pipes that were from 1890, wooden pipes, and they had the highest water leakage in the state. They had 70% water leakage, so they were under administrative order to change all their pipes in the whole system. So from Whitefield, just got a $4.3 million water grant as well. Bethlehem got a $700,000 water drinking grant. And then there's been a couple other communities. And so I find myself going to municipalities if there's any projects they're working on that I can help them out, to seek funding. I can obviously put them in the right direction. Also, the New Hampshire Charitable Trust Fund or Foundation is out there, and they support a lot of good things. And on the preservation side, the LCHIP program, the Land Heritage Investment Program, my district a couple of years ago got 18 awards. Those things are very good as well for the preservation land. So whatever your heart's desire.
Okay.
It's always good to use, private money to get projects done because it happens quicker, but there's a lot of public financing out there as well.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the report. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Any other questions maybe for the counselor? Okay, let's go on to we're not going to reorganize tonight until we wait for Rick to show. He'll be here next week, he says. We did the Conservation Commission recommendations. Brian drafted a proposed investment policy for the Board of Selectmen. Excellent job. I think we should share it with the treasurer.
Yes.
And we'll look at it at our next meeting. Townhouse maintenance plans. It's time to start thinking about what we're going to try to do next door this year. The list is long.
Daunting, yes.
We need the new handicap ramp.
Yep.
If we're going to paint it, we have to repair some of the trim.
Sure, that will do.
Well, some of the clapboards and some of the fascia boards are shot. And then we are in a position to scrape and paint.
Yeah.
So, I guess we could try to draft a request for proposals on that.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can get someone to do the painting and the repair workers have 2 different skill sets.
I would ask. There are some painters out there that are capable, but I'd be leery because of the historic nature of the building. But that work's relatively simplistic. Clapboards and trim work. Now, would you?
See, I think the painting is the easier part, right? When you say scrape,
Scrape and
sand,
paint, yeah.
prime, paint. It's the trim work that's unbounded until you start getting into it. You don't know
You
how
know
much
what
you're
you're
gonna
gonna
find.
find, you know?
Um,
Diane, are you looking to see how much is in that trust account for that? Oh,
I was gonna look for your plan.
So, I guess that what we'll do is, let me try to draft something for the maintenance. We know we want to do the handicap ramp,
yeah.
and we have facial work, that's gonna be hard to quantify.
Mhm. That we're gonna have to get a quote. We can always ask Gary Chickaroni for
Quote.
you know, at least a quote, or what you want to call it, from him, and see if he even wants to take the work, and anyone else in town.
I'll talk to Gary about that too, how we should write up a proposal, because we don't know, it's gotta be bounded somehow. We can't just say replace all the bad trim.
Yeah, no,
You know?
they could get out of control quick.
That's right. All right, I'll talk to Gary and get his suggestion on how to move forward with that proposal.
Yeah, because it's kind of thing that, it's like you're saying, that, you know, one clapboard comes up, next thing you know, there's 5 more coming off, and then all the trim's going, and, you know, what we thought was gonna cost 5,000 is gonna cost 10,000.
Yes. All right, I'll do that. That's my action item.
Once the snow, I'm sorry.
Good.
Once the snow clears from this roof, I'm gonna get in touch with Madden again, see if he's now physically capable of doing roofing again, and try to get back on the list.
Yeah, this side's bare.
Yeah, well, imagine most guys aren't stripping the roof quite yet, so.
Well, they just did the funeral parlor down here in town.
Yeah,
They did the funeral parlor in town just 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Then I'll reach out to him in the near future.
They got it done.
If nothing else, we get on the list, so we find out he's not doing it, we start to have to get
That's right.
other quotes.
Okay, and the only other item is we're having our coffee next Saturday, 8 to 10. Rick's gonna put the coffee on at 7:15. And we just have to get the sign out and looking for you.
I saw the other voting sign melted.
We'll get that.
You and Dave were looking for it. I have one other new item. The kiosk up at Stoneham it's a mess. You know, between the plexi being broken, the age and wear and tear, and it's, you know, it must have got hit, you know, when someone's parking or whatever. So I think we need to just do a complete rebuild, or someone's gonna go and say they can overhaul it. Because we can't open the doors, and when you do, everything's getting wet in there. Who did we had the high school build this one over here, right? Do you remember who you spoke to on that?
No, but the project started in September. So we're waiting till next September to get on the list.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
I raised the question again, why do we need that one? We use the one out front, we use our website, as long as we're consistent, we don't need it. Because if we need it, we're obligated to post there religiously.
I know, trust me, I'm the one posting it.
So, I mean, that's our obligation. If we're gonna use it, we have to use it.
I agree, and I have no problem saying if the town wants it down, we should probably take it down, because the thing is a mess.
Are we bound to have 2 physical posting places? So
What?
the internet can count as one?
And once you establish it, you have to be consistent. But that's the problem. If we're not consistent up there, we're setting ourselves up. And it's way up north. Way up north. Almost to Ossipee.
Hinterlands, huh? Ed, you know, we're way up there.
All right, not that far.
But, so either we should rebuild it, or we should decommission it.
I would decommission it.
Okay. So I think for the time being, unless we have a lot of objections, I'll make a motion that we cease posting up there. Okay.
And I'll second the motion. And we're both in favor of that.
Yes, we are.
So that's no longer gonna be one of our official posting locations. And we'll have to tell the planning board and the zoning board and other boards that we don't use that any longer.
I'll send out an email tomorrow.
Would you like me to take it down leave the post there, but just take the thing down and tuck it away for now.
Maybe we should put a sign on it for the next month or something like that, and then take it down.
Let's put the sign on, and then we'll take it down. Should put a sign. Could you make a sign up for us? No longer in use, no longer, and then we'll get it posted up there, and then we'll take it down.
They have them, Ed can-
Then everybody has a shot that we're not using it.
Yeah, and if people get really upset that we're decommissioning it, then all right, we'll have to consider
Build a new one.
building it, yeah.
How long has it been up there, do you know?
I think a long time, that's why, the fact that Mary Lou's not here.
That's exactly right. Mary Lou will tell us.
So that's what I'm saying, there might be people that will get
As long as I
upset.
can remember.
It's been up there as long as you can remember?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was across the street when I was young. It was
Right.
across the street, and you literally stopped in the road to read it or post things. And then we moved it across there 10 years ago.
At least that, it's been since I lived here.
But her argument was, it's old and good. It's no longer good.
That's the problem.
Times change, and it's, I don't see anybody there anymore. I don't see anybody stopping there.
We have the internet.
All right, thanks, that's my only good thing.
We have a bunch of mail to go through, a bunch of invoices to go through. Any other public comments before we start that? Okay, so let's start. We have some motions we have to make. You're welcome to stay for these motions from the assessor. We've got a recommendation from the assessor that we deny this abatement request that we received for an abatement of change use tax. It's a year old and he's still waiting for information. So the recommendation is that we deny it.
I'll make a motion to accept the assessor's abatement denial.
I second it. All in agreement, yes?
Yes.
So,
What do we say?
I don't know.
I thought it was on the application.
I don't see it though. Today is
27.
We've got another request to put additional land into current use. I believe it's complete. That's not this one. That's this one.
Yeah.
And this is complete to go into current use. Make a motion, we approve it.
A second motion.
All in favor? Yep, aye. Okay, you print. And this is the one, this is a new current use tax. Coming out of current use. So it's a warrant for the collected taxes. What we're doing is signing the warrant.
When's the deadline for abatements or those sort of things?
April 1st, March 30th, 1st. And I'm looking, because I know current use is funny, current use is a funny date. I go for April 1st, and I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay. That goes to you, Diane, as a warrant. There might be more than one place to sign. I think we've been there before. Now that I think about it, on the bottom of that page.
Yeah, looks like we're gonna sign this page.
That's what's there.
Do you need a motion for that or just a signature?
For that, it's just a signature. That is just a warrant for bills. Pay the tax collector.
To get that second page.
Thank you. Goes to Diane.
Oh, that's, I'm sorry.
She'll take that one right now. Get that bill out. All right, what else we have?
I hear.
Do we need to?
Yes, we have to sign those too.
Yeah.
They go with, to Marilou.
Okay.
We have a letter from the state that they're gonna be working on the dam on Kingswood Lake. They're gonna be doing a lot of work by having it completed by October 1st of 2019. They detail out what they're gonna be doing. It's just, we'll have to read it a little more closely, but they have a lot of work to do, cleaning up trees and doing some basic maintenance. We'll have to read this, see if they want a response from us. We also have,
Is that a state or a town dam?
that is a state dam.
Okay.
We got a letter from the Mitchell Group. They hired a new attorney, Carrie Ann Roman. She'll be joining their firm March 1st. So we'll hear her name. Okay, how about we do the bills next? You start reading them and I'll start listing.
Okay. First, bills from Tens Construction for $11,639. It is almost exclusively snow and ice control. HP Fairfield. So he made, it says parts. Are those edges for the plows?
What's the total?
$739.75.
Cutting edges and,
Oh, yeah, I see the little, okay. All right, so $739.75. The town pays for the plow edge, blade edges. Eversource, we have a bill for $209.28. Doesn't look like there's any carryover, so that is a fresh bill for February into middle of March. The other Eversource bill, $35.18 for the same period. No carryover, that's a fresh amount. Ossipee Aggregates, coarse wash sand, a lot of coarse wash sand being bought for $1,108.17. Granite State Minerals, salt, total $1,961.47. White Mountain Oil Propane, $1,119.75.
What's the date on the bill?
Let me see. Delivery date was 3/22/18, total of 747 gallons.
Wow, we're almost out again.
Yeah. And that's all the bills. I make a motion that we accept the bills as they're written on the record.
Second it? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I have a question. Is the heat being left on in the schoolhouse?
Yeah. At about 40.
Okay.
45.
I was just curious because that's quite a bit of a bump up from what we're used to.
Yes. Yes, and we had one mistaken delivery, so we used a lot of propane this year.
Yeah. That includes that Rhymes extra.
We have to think about getting, I think, a maintenance person. There's so many little things that have to be done. Like the trap underneath the schoolhouse that froze should be boxed in. Like there's chairs that should be repaired.
Well, these are more bills here.
Okay.
What's going on? We'll get another White Mountain bill here.
Did you open these?
No, these are the ones that were in the box.
Because Marilou gave us a, all right,
How much was the other bill from White Mountain for? It's a different bill delivery date.
this was, so it says the balance after this delivery is $1,100.
Yeah, this bill here was current bill $1,106.20, and this is delivery date. Delivery date, well, at least it was February 1st at least. That's the date it was built. And there's no balance forward on that, right?
No, the wording is the total account balance after this delivery. In this delivery, it looks like it's current. Delivery is 1,100, invoice is 1,100.
But why do we have an earlier bill that is,
I can't believe we got another. We can't have another 700 gallons in a month.
that's what I'm saying, something's up with that.
700 gallons in a month?
Town of Brookfield, right, that's Town of Brookfield, like, make sure we get someone else's bill, huh? Good to see it happening.
So that, your delivery date was what, the 22nd?
That's 3/22. This one
So
is,
that was last week.
yeah, this,
And I don't think anybody's delivered because I didn't shovel out the tank.
Hayden didn't get over there. I've been,
And I don't think.
by the time we realized it's all stuff's hard packed now.
Right. Right. So
That's
if
what
that's
we're
just
doing.
last week,
But what I'm getting at is, if this is unpaid and it's not showing a balance forward, so something's up. We need to,
Well, we'll give him a buzz tomorrow. We'll give him a buzz tomorrow.
all right, Diane Peckham, tax collector, submitted receipts for a registration for a spring workshop for herself and Rose, $100. Certified letters, lien notices, and deed notices. Total amount of this reimbursement is $293.20.
We pay that also.
Oh, we got a few, so
Oh, we got a few? Oh, geez.
hang on the motion for a minute. Now, Granite State, didn't I just read a Granite State? For salt.
Yeah,
How much is that one?
1,900.
This is $1,986. It's a little different.
You
This is
believe?
228 invoices.
It'll tell you the weights on there.
33.3.
33.76.
You got 2 deliveries of salt?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks. I just want to make sure that, so there is another Granite State Minerals bill for salt for $19.86.78. Salmon Falls, we had a public hearing for the budget, I want to believe. That was $54. No, make that $55, excuse me.
Holy smokes. Small.
Rodwood Associates, total $225 for assessing services. Consolidated Communications was Fairpoint. Bill $84.32. No, scratch that. $42.16. It was a double. Consolidated again. This total bill is $84.29. Mitchell Group, for legal services, total $332.50. Mitchell Group, the January invoices, total balance due $1,381.
You didn't initial it up.
To do the back page. No. All right, make another motion to accept the second round of bills as read on the record.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
We're paying. Okay, that goes to Marilou. That's done.
Yes.
We've got a contract from the accounting firm for this year. It's effectively the same contract as we had last year. It's time and material, $75 an hour. $75 per hour, not to exceed 5,000. We wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we renew this contract.
I got to see it. I didn't get a chance like that. I'm sorry. I'll second the motion that we sign the contract.
Is there anything else? I'd like to go into non-public for just a minute. So we're going to go into non-public.
You don't have to, but it's a good opportunity.
We're going into non-public to talk legal advice.
Okay.
Kate's Lane.
Yeah, sorry. Kids Lane. Goes out to the south end of
Okay. So Rich is looking to go non-public per RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2E. Consideration or negotiation of pending claims or litigation which has been threatened in writing or filed or against by or against any board member or any subdivision thereof, or by against any member thereof because of his or her membership therein, until the claim or litigation has fully been adjudicated or otherwise settled.
I'll second. Roll call.
Robisheau, huh?
Zachary, yes. Okay, real quick.
All right.
I think we have everything.
Oh, we're gonna come on non-public?
Yes, we're going to get on public.
All right. I make the motion that we do roll call, is that how it works?
Hang on a second. I don't think we need to do,
We have to do a roll call.
we have to do roll call to seal minutes.
So we
So you need
can
to make a motion to leave non-public.
Okay, I make a motion that we come out of non-public.
second,
I make a motion that we seal those minutes for,
vote on that motion. All there.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm pressing along here. All in favor, aye.
Robisheau, yes. Zachary, yes. Seal the minutes for how long?
So I make a motion to seal those minutes for 1 year.
1 year. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Got him.
Almost.
You saw the play. All right, I think we're done. I just don't want to close it to her.
Just one letter we got from Community Action Tri-County CAP. The Office of Strategic Initiatives has released supplemental benefit for fuel assistance to households who heat their residence with a deliverable fuel. The supplemental benefit is equal to 40% of the client's awarded benefit. Households heating with this energy source and other listed fuels do not qualify for the supplemental benefit. Enrolled households that meet the criteria have been automatically assigned a supplemental benefit, and a new letter is being mailed directly to their household. So, additional fuel assistance. That's all I had. I just wanted to read that because it is.
We're going to reorganize next time. We'll see you all on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. Meeting's adjourned. Okay.